Hey folks, Barnaby Dixon here, just Barnaby Dixon. I had Matilda on my lap a moment ago, but she heard a sound outside and promptly ran away. In this video, I want to share with you an interview that I did with Great Big Story on their Instagram Live a couple of days ago. Eben Hall interviewed me, who I'd like to thank in particular because he's always championed my work, and he put together a great little documentary along with Beryl, also of Great Big Story, back in 2017, which got me a lot of attention and it was very much appreciated. It's kind of like a show and tell session. You'll see some puppets, you'll see a little couple of dance pieces at the end, which I hope you'll like. The interview itself starts around the 4-minute mark, so do feel free to skip ahead to that little bit. We're having some technical issues with the Instagram Live thingy. Other than that, I hope you enjoy it and stay safe. Bye for now.
Okay. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Great Big Story Instagram live stream. I'm Eben Hall, a producer here at GBS, and I'm very excited to tell you about the special guest that we have joining us today. It is the incredibly talented puppeteer, the incredibly talented puppet maker, and YouTube star Barnaby Dixon. He's going to be on the live stream today. Get this comment pinned, as is our custom. There we go. So I met Barnaby way back in 2017 when we flew to England. Remember flying, everybody? No? We flew to England to film a story about Barnaby for GBS. And since we have filmed that story, his own YouTube channel has grown to nearly 1 million subscribers. He has appeared on Adam Savage's Tested and worked on the Netflix version of The Dark Crystal that came out last year. He's a very smart and talented guy, and so let's see if we can get him on the line. Hello from Indonesia. Hi there, guys. Who else do we have? Happy birthday to Wendell. Get some people in here. As I said, I'm Eben, a producer at GBS, and we're going to be talking with Barnaby Dixon, master puppeteer, today. Maybe we'll chat Barnaby to see what's up. Who else do we have in the stream today? You guys are pretty quiet today. Okay, Barnaby's WhatsApping me. Oklahoma, what's up? Annie the puppet, hello. Barnaby should be here any minute. He says he clicked request. Let's see here. All right. Stand by. Stand by for Barnaby in 3, 2, 1. In the meantime, get your questions ready for Barnaby. Oh, here he is.
How's it going? Sorry about
Hey,
that. Am I sideways or am I the right way round?
You look sideways to me.
Right. Let me try this. That is probably better.
There we go.
Cool.
Hey, buddy. How are you?
Hey, how's it going?
We made it. They changed the process.
Yes,
I didn't see
did.
the request.
That's all right.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, very good. I was working on a theatre project up until a few weeks ago in London. Well, a few months ago, actually. Now time is flying. But everyone now is a lot of the people on the project, at least on my team, were freelancers. So working from home kind of came a bit naturally to them. So we're able to continue the project from home, thankfully. But of course, the theatre project will be delayed. But yeah, when this whole thing finishes, we'll be right back in there, and I think it'll be the first play back. So we're really excited to get back, really.
Yeah. But you're not in London right now.
No, I'm back in Bridgewater. Yeah, this is where you visited those years ago.
All those years ago, that's right. Yeah, here's actually a clip from the original story that we did about Barnaby. And those are some of actually the only 3 puppets I think you had back when we interviewed you in 2017. But
At the
things,
time, yeah, there's
yeah,
been a few more since then.
yeah, things have really.
I've done a second version of the Dab Chick puppet too, which I can be putting on for you now.
Oh yeah, he's got different feet now. I think.
Yeah, different thing. It's actually a whole different material. The original one that you saw was made out of this resin material. It was very heavy. It was nice to work with, just from a like sculptor perspective, but in terms of its weight, it was a little bit cumbersome and quite brittle as well compared to this one. This one's it's a type of plastic. It's more lightweight. It bends, so if you drop it, it doesn't split. It just kind of bounces, which is nice. So here's the new Dab Chick with this suitable facewear on.
Yeah, he's got his PPE on. That was very
right,
responsible of him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, he looks great.
It's nice, huh?
Yeah, well, so for people that don't know, maybe we could get a little of your history, and you can tell me maybe how you got into puppets to begin with.
Sure. Yeah. So it was back in 2015. I was working as a freelance stop motion animator, but in my downtime, I wanted to work on my own projects and kind of get as many of them under my belt as possible. I was thinking at the time as well about YouTube and the ability to create things quickly and consistently, and that's really something you can't quite do with stop motion animation. It takes a hell of a long time.
Yeah, so I've got one of your stop motion
there you go.
in the background now. So like how long would something like this take, for example?
It's going to sound like a long time, but it's actually quite fast in the grand scheme of things. I think from the first frame that I shot to the last frame, it was probably around 3 months. But it is like a 10-minute long piece, and I was the only one working on it. It might have been another few months to do the sound. I got a really talented guy called Matt Loveridge, who's based out of Bristol, to work on that for me. And the whole thing actually was basically edited in camera, so I shot it kind of in sequence. The nice thing about animation, and it applies to puppetry too, is you don't have to kind of schedule anyone else's time because they're all under your watch. Yeah.
Yeah, I gotcha. So versus like making a video with a puppet like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so much faster then.
Yeah, and real time too. So it means you can do things like vlogs, you can interact with people, with animals. It just creates a lot more narrative possibilities, and you get some sunlight too, which is always a plus.
Gotcha. And all of your puppets are hand puppets, right? Why hand puppets?
I think because it made a lot of sense to me. I work with my hands a lot when I build things and when I animate as well. And I play guitar too, and I think that aids dexterity or development of dexterity. But it's something that you can kind of put in front of the camera and film at the same time. That kind of makes sense because you can be back there recording. But also the range of motion that you have in your hand is kind of unparalleled with other parts of your body, really. You can make your knuckles, knees and elbows and joints and things like that. Also, it's a very similar scale to stop motion too. A stop motion puppet, at least the ones I built, were around this kind of scale as well. So I was quite used to building in that way. The materials as well carried over a little bit. There's a real classic stop motion joint on the back there that you can kind of see. And one on my wrist there, that's classic stop motion. Although the build process varies quite a lot, because with stop motion, what you have to do is you've got to make sure the puppets can hold their position for, indefinitely. Whereas in puppetry, you want to be able to control them in real time and make sure that movement happens, instantaneously in the moment. So it's a little bit of a translation, but a lot of the same principles apply. And also when it comes to movement, a lot of the same principles apply. So everything that you learn about physics that you apply to stop motion, basically you can apply to puppetry too.
Yeah, well, they're super engaging to watch. I think I originally found you from a clip on Reddit, and the second you see your puppets in action, you're just like drawn in. So
thank you.
Well done. So
Thanks
yeah, like I mentioned, we had these 3 when we filmed with you. Who else have you added to the lineup since?
Oh yeah, well, this is the second version of Dab Chick. So like I say, this is the plastic one. But since making that one, or was it since making the bug puppet one, actually, I've worked pretty much exclusively with that plastic, just because it's so practical. Another nice thing about this plastic is that if you do something wrong, actually, you know what? I'll put this on at the end because we can do a dance number with this one. But this one is also made out of the same plastic. This is the aardvark one. This is what it looks like disassembled.
Oh yeah, wait, I have a
like
clip of that.
sushi or something.
So here,
Yeah,
yeah, there he is in action.
yeah. Oh, you got that one? Yes, there you go. So this is under black light as well. I have a black light just to the side there, which I can flick on in a second so you can get a sense of how that looks in real time. But yeah, another benefit to this plastic is you can kind of heat it up and tear bits off that don't work, really quickly. Whereas if you make it out of clay or resin or something like that, you have to grind it down, which makes a lot of dust, and it's not really something that you can do in your room. Yeah.
Yeah, how many individual pieces make up that guy?
Make up this one? I'm not sure actually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh, 12. I forgot one. Cool, there we go. Yeah, 12 pieces.
Yeah, he's so wild looking. Is it hard for your hand to kind of switch from dab chick mode to the anteater and back again?
Specific movements can be tricky. I think the vast majority of it is understanding the movement and getting a sense of what looks right. If you're doing something that looks wrong and catching it, that's almost important as knowing what to do that's right, because you make changes that hopefully work. And if they don't, you try another thing. But one of the hardest movements for this one actually was the walk cycle. Is this cutting off the screen ever so slightly?
Yeah, but if you can pull him up a little bit, maybe.
Okay, so I'll do it on my hand.
Oh, there you
So
go.
there's a walk cycle there where he moves the alternate feet, and that was a really tricky one actually. That took me a while, but yeah, it looks quite nice now. I'll stick the black light on so you can see what it looks like.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Again, it was a bug puppet, I think, where I first started using the black. Oh, look, my teeth. That's crazy.
You brushed today, clearly.
I did, yeah.
Oh, he looks great.
Looks amazing. I really like this one. Another thing, this is a really nice benefit that this one has, and the bug puppet and other ones to varying degrees have this too, where there's something, it has a few different names. I call it secondary movement, or sympathetic movement sometimes too. It's where you get extra movement for no extra work, really. You make material choices, but you can do things like this. You see how the fur kind of wobbles? Now, if
Oh
I was
yeah.
to try and animate this in stop motion, I would have to move each of these individual hairs individually, and it would take a really, really, really long time. So it's just another benefit for me, at least coming from the animation background, to working in this new medium that makes it so much more practical.
Yeah,
So I
totally.
really enjoy that.
I've got the bug up here, so you're like how his antennas shake around like that.
Yeah, yeah. That's yeah, that's a very good example of sympathetic movement. The tail also is kind of an example of that too. I do have some control of it in that I shift my wrist to make it move, but on the whole, it's kind of random. It's basically like those snake toys, the ones that you can kind of move around like that. Same principle.
Yeah, totally.
Strapped to my wrist.
So
I'll turn this
cool.
off actually for a second so you can see what it looks like when it's just, because it's also glow in the dark, see?
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah.
So wild. And you fairly recently took your puppetry to the silver screen, right?
Yeah, it was.
You worked on the Dark Crystal.
That's right. Yeah.
Netflix.
So that was a Netflix project. Louis Leterrier was directing, a French director, and he contacted me back. It wasn't actually long after I met you guys. I think that would have been around April 2017, so like a month after I met up with you guys. Let me turn the light back on. And yeah, he told me about this. That this show was probably going to happen, and he found my stuff online by typing something like "crazy puppetry." I think, and he found it. I think he found the bug puppet first. And he thought, oh, that would be really good for a specific scene that he had in mind, and he explained the scene to me. It changed a little bit in development, but still, I got to work on it, which was really fun. And there was all sorts of people that I'd idolized growing up, like Brian Froud is a really key example, and his son Toby Froud as well, who is a really good artist in his own right. He does a lot of the sculpting. So the face there that you can see of the Gelfling, that Toby Froud did that. I didn't have anything to do with that. Only just to say, shave this little bit off here a little bit just so I can get the movement, things like that. But
Yeah,
it was a really nice collaboration, and I'm really
I mean, this was the Jim Henson Company, right? So it's like for a puppeteer, like it doesn't.
Yeah,
Get
that's the gold
more.
standard.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, yeah, it was super fun. One really fun thing about this that I hadn't experienced quite in the same way was just having so many people on set that knew exactly how to do specific things. For example, like the lighting, cinematography. So the puppets just look so sharp, and like they have like wind machines going on there, so you get all that secondary motion, as I was saying, being instigated by the wind, and it was just super 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 fun.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
was it intimidating me around people of that caliber?
Uh, yeah, yeah, I would say so. I think so. But at the same time, I was excited to see what I could offer to the project. I know that I'm doing something unique, and that people are interested in it. In a way, it made sense, even though that sounds ever so slightly arrogant. But but I enjoyed working with them, and they, I think, enjoyed working with me too. So it was a fun project all around.
Awesome. Yeah, it came out just incredible.
Mm.
Let's see if we have any questions from the audience.
Yeah, that
You
sounds good.
can use the Q&A feature at the bottom because then we can all see it. So there's some here. Are you ready for one, Barnaby?
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Okay. Question 1. How is Dab Chick doing?
Dabby's doing fine. He's got his his respirator on as well, so hopefully he'll be doing fine for a fair bit to come. Yeah.
Excellent. Good to hear. Is Manu still alive?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Where
He
has
is
he
still alive.
been?
He's in a drawer somewhere. I really like that. That was the puppet that did really well. I think probably, did you see that one on Reddit to start with?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that was, so I haven't used that one, I think, since maybe the last video I did with that was, I mean, he's featured a little bit in Dabchick episodes, but in terms of like a video all to himself, probably like Halloween of, I think it was 2017. So it's been a while. But like I say, I found more practical materials to work with. And I put it on not so long ago, actually, just to feel, and it feels so heavy. And it's so interesting how far well, a change of materials, or, what difference that makes. So that was really fascinating. It was very uncomfortable as well. I remember I started off with the metal element. So it was all sheet brass, that I had to kind of shape. And then I had to clad it with the resin to make it a little bit easier on my hand. But before I could do that, I had to make sure it would fit. So I had to move around with the sheet brass. And I remember having my hands horribly cut up because I just needed to, I didn't have, I had limited funding too, so I couldn't waste brass on shapes that weren't going to work. So I'm quite happy not to be using that one anymore, really.
Well, this is a version of Manu, right? That's dancing around here.
That's actually the same version, but I painted it with UV accentuations you see around. And they glow as well, although that does have the UV light on it at the time, I think, if I remember rightly. But yeah, I really like that one. That was the one that had I got my feet involved in the choreography as well. I think I drew like little eyes on my socks and flailed around like a nutter for about 30 seconds, but many takes, so it's a bit longer than that, really.
Okay, the Martian botanist asks, have you ever thought about 3D printing parts, or does the process need to be more organic for you?
That's a good question. No, I do think about that quite often. I think in terms of the initial design, I like to work with my hands, definitely. Like there's something about the instantaneousness of making it, trying it on, seeing if it fits, seeing if it operates well, that if you were to go straight into the computer for the initial design phase, I think you would lose something really. Or at least it might not even be as practical. But on the London project, we actually do have a 3D printer, and that's exactly what we're doing, because we need to make so many puppets, and so many of the puppets actually have similar mechanisms inside. Well, a good chunk of them share mechanisms, so it makes sense to get involved in that. So yeah, that's all coming together as we speak, hopefully.
Who else we have here? So many good questions, guys. How about this one from Sleepy Box? How long did it take to make Dabchick?
Yeah, it took a while. The initial version was actually kind of a hybrid between stop motion and puppetry. So I didn't quite go into straight from stop motion into puppetry. I sort of took baby steps in a way. So I did something that was kind of a mix between the two, where it's almost like time lapse. So I had the camera set up and the what's it called? The shutter attached to a foot pedal, so that I could be moving Dabchick kind of frame by frame like and taking pictures as I went. But there were certain elements that I couldn't move like that. It was basically just the legs I was moving. So the head and the wings and the tail all weren't real time movable. So I had to kind of go in between the frames and operate it that way, which was, it took a lot longer. And sometimes I think the camera couldn't keep up, and it would do, you put it on sports mode so you could just hold it down and go, that sort of thing. But it would take a while to save all the images. And so it became a bit impractical. And I was just desperate to think, is there a way that all of these movements, or maybe even more of those movements, can happen in real time? And just eventually the whole thing became real time, and it just became a lot more practical for the reasons as well that I was saying before. You know, I get to interact with the world now, and the puppets get to interact with the world, which is really positive in terms of narrative ideas and improvisation and things that you wouldn't necessarily think of when it comes to stop motion, or even be possible.
Yeah, totally. What is your favorite puppet? Can you pick a favorite?
That's too hard, really. I think I like Dab Chicken, that I've kind of known him the longest, and I've had the most time to develop the personality. So I'd say that'd be my knee-jerk answer, Dab Chick. Yeah.
Yeah, he's my favorite too.
Oh, good.
Mostly, I got to appear in a Dab Chick episode, by the way.
You did. We went drinking.
Very big thrill.
You went drinking with Dab Chick, and he made a fool of himself.
That's right. I tried him on. He's really difficult to.
Well, there's the added difficulty of it not being built for your hand, I suppose. So that's
okay. I'll take that.
I'm giving you an out.
Great. Oh, and I wanted to let everybody know that up on the Great Big Story YouTube page today, we have a special tutorial from Barnaby where he teaches Dab Chick teaches us how to make your own crazy puppets out of household materials.
That's right. Yeah. So Post-it notes. Do you call them Post-it notes or sticky notes in the US?
Either one.
Either one. Okay. I think we can use either one too. But these little guys, this is just the top half of one of them. And they're good because a lot of people have them lying around, so they're kind of an accessible material. They're super lightweight, and if you kind of clad them in sticky tape as well, you make them quite durable. So if your hands get sweaty, or if it rains or something, you can still be doing puppetry. Although you probably wouldn't be doing puppetry in the rain. Probably.
Well, I mean, they look great under the black light as well.
That's true. Yeah, you stick this on, and you can see how much they really do pop. Yeah.
Awesome. Is that enough chit chat? Maybe you could show us some action.
I'll do one more question, and I will rearrange the camera ever so slightly as I answer it, because I have this other device here that might be a bit more fitting, because I can angle it down a bit.
Dab Chick t-shirts, somebody wants to know.
Oh yeah, we did a run of them, but it was only for live events at the time. I'd like to sort that out. It's not really the time to do it at the moment, is it? But I think in the future, hopefully then sooner than later, that's something that we can sort out. Yeah, I'll do it. Long ways again. All right. Can you see my hands?
I can. Yeah, that looks great. Let me get rid of this comment. Oh, and I flipped my camera around.
Oh, did you? Did you have a messy desk?
Actually, I had a little grommet from Wallace and Gromit.
Oh, did you?
Which actually is
that is quite fitting, actually. Yeah.
Let me see here.
Those guys at Aardman were some of the first people to show me some support. Actually, there was one of the founders saw some early Dab Chick stuff, and we had a chat really early on where he showed his support, and that was really, really nice. And they're really close by. Bristol is just about an hour away from where I am.
Have you met them?
Yeah. I met Dave Sproxton, who's one of the founders.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, legends.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I love Wallace and Gromit. That was a really strong inspiration for me early on.
So let's see, legs are going on one hand, and
that's right.
On another.
Yeah, the body goes on the left hand and the legs go on the right hand for these type of two-handed puppet. All right, I'll hit these lights. Cool.
Setting the mood.
Yeah, right. Cool.
Yes, that's great. People were absolutely loving it in the comments.
Oh, good.
They said
Good.
it felt like they were at a rave for bugs, which
Oh,
is very
that's a new
apt.
one.
Oh,
Awesome.
that's great. You have another
Thank
one
you.
for us?
Yes, I'll switch puppets. So this is one. This one doubles up as a couple of puppets, actually. I do this Halloween ghost story type series. I've only done one episode so far, but I'd like to do some more, where I have this creepy face puppet guy, and I swap his face out, I think a couple of times, maybe once actually, to do a dance video where I have this kind of like dreadlock looking puppet. You see this one? And again, the sympathetic movement on this is lovely.
Oh,
So I
yeah.
make the most of that one. And so I'll stick this one on.
So I'm showing a clip of how he looks with
There you go.
the little video feed. So
Yeah.
definitely go to Barnaby's YouTube page to watch his because you're live streaming the mouth. Is that right?
Yes,
Or
yeah, it's really quick actually. I use a camera, a really lightweight camera. I put that on like a just a little thing in front, like a little stick in front of my mouth. So you've got to line it up carefully. But when you do, you can get some really, really cool results. And yeah, you can do like live, voiceover essentially. And I don't know if it's even called voiceover when it's live, but the result's great. And it's I think in a live setting it can work super, super well. So but actually I'll swap the head over. This is the one for the ghost story there. He has light up eyes that I can control with a little switch on the back. And yeah, that shows my face.
it's amazing that you can like manage all those different things real time.
Well,
Take a lot
the
of
easier you can make
coordination.
your job, the better. So if you do use, technology to stream your mouth, you don't have to think about how does my mouth move. You just move it the way it normally does. But yeah, there's other aspects like the hand mechanism too that you have to consider, things like that. So you see that,
Right.
and you can get like one finger opening or one finger extending, and then all the
Oh, so
you can
cool.
grip things and pick things up, and it's super nice. I really like that one. All right, I'll set the other track up. Cool. This one has a real slinky body as well, so look out for that in the choreography.
So good,
Thank
man.
you.
So good. Um, well, we are almost out of time.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you want to see more of Barnaby, follow him right here on Instagram. Definitely go to his YouTube page and subscribe there.
Thank you.
Yeah. And if you're interested in making your own puppets, as we mentioned, go over to the GBS YouTube channel right now, and you can watch that special tutorial from Barnaby, which we just put up.
Cool.
So,
Cool.
yeah,
I
that
hope
was
you
great.
liked it.
Thank you so much, Barnaby. Really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
No, this has been super, super fun. Yeah.
And everybody, be sure to come back tomorrow at the same time, because we've got joining us Charles Martinet, who was the original voice of Mario. So you're not going to want to miss that. That includes you, Barnaby.
Cool. Yeah, I'll check it out for sure.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody, for your questions and for joining. And yeah, that was great. Thanks, Elaine.
Thanks, Evan. Bye for now.
Yeah.